We are up to Melech Oizayid im Moshiach im Mugain. The types of these three words and the difference between Oizai and Moshiach im Mugain. Before we start, I would like to mention a piece of Yesod Shoyesh Avodah that he says on these three words. And he says like this: Al derech sod, al pi kabula, each and every word, tikkun oilemus hu al yoinem hagdoishin. Each and every word. Whoever is ma'ayin in Kisva Herizal will see there's big kavunis v'noiruim on each and every word. A brucha zi shalovis, especially on this brucha of Uvois that we are about to finish. A kamat b'chol bruchas, kamat by all the bruchas, but especially on this brucha. Therefore, a person must be very, very careful. When he says these words out of his mouth, it should be b'dechila rechimi, with yira and ahava. It says in the Zohar Kodesh, whoever doesn't say these words from his mouth, b'dechila rechimi, he brings a very negative pusik. If a person feels by himself that he said a word b'tfilah without dechila rechimi, yira and ahava, fear and love to Hashem, even though he didn't have any outer thoughts, thinking about anything else. Because in person it says, you should forget about everything. There's nothing exists. You're talking to Hashem now. Just didn't come out from his mouth. When he said these words, it didn't come from the depth of his heart. Say the word again. You should say it properly. That's only when a person says, Burich, Atu, I didn't have in mind the proper machshava on Atu, say it again. But it is up to Atu Choynaim, it's not going to go back. This is the introduction that I'm making on these words. Oizai Moshiach Mugain. This is true by the whole brucha. He says it on these words. When you look into the Meforshim on these words, Oizai Moshiach Mugain, it's mamish, it's amazing how much is in these words. And let's start. First we'll start with the Rashba. Shivas Rashba. The Rashba explains the types of these three words, Melech, Oizai, Moshiach Mugain. He says like this: Yesh oizrim rabim ba'olam. There are many people that help, many helpers. Sometimes the help comes from a person, really he won't reach to the goal to finish off that it should be taka proper help. And sometimes bad things will come out from his help. I'd rather not him helping. What does it mean? To explain the words of the Rashba, sometimes the person helps you, he takes away your time, he gives you headaches, and you'd rather him not help you. Yet, even on this, you have to thank Hashem. Even on this. Because you never know what good comes out, even from the headaches that you got from his help. You wouldn't reach to the point where you are now without his help. That really ruined, in your eyes, it ruined it. But if it happened for a reason. Hashem wanted it to happen that way. And that's the only way how you could reach to a real help. So you have to thank Hashem, not only on the help which didn't complete, it didn't fulfill the full help, even if he is still in the middle of doing the job, and he's not finished yet, Oizai, he helped you, to thank. On every shliach, anything that transpired throughout the process of helping, you should be thankful. And avada, if it comes from Hashem, but Hashem is totally different, and he explains why. Aval HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not Oizai, it's Moshiach. Hashem helps us in a way where there's never a nezek, never damage, never hurt, never tzar. And not only that, Melech Oizai im Moshiach im Mugain. That's even a higher level. Mugain it's a shield. Maybe it's explained. Sometimes you have a child that's going through a difficult time, the father just takes him around and he shields over him. The person has a shield and it shields every limb of his body. Mugain, it's a shield. No bad could reach to him. This is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Melech Oizai im Moshiach im Mugain. This is the pshat that the Rashba gives on these words. Moshiach, the pshat, Hashem could save the person from any pain, from any tzar, in any limb of his body. Hashem is the one that protects him, that no damage should be made. That's Melech Oizai Moshiach Mugain. The Vilna Gaon says, Avada. If he's a person in a shver matzav, to him, why did Hashem have to put me through this? Couldn't he do it in a way where I should have it easy and fine? We'll discuss that later on Mitzvah. We're going to go into that point. It's a very important point. The Vilna Gaon teaches Melech Oizai Moshiach Mugain. There are three types of help. That's the Vilna Gaon's pshat in his Siddur on these words. Three types of yeshiyas. The person has an enemy, and someone else comes and helps him, and he hits his enemy, that he should stop hitting this person. This is called Oizai. The person who came to your side, hitting your enemy, he is helping you. The next one is Moshiach. Moshiach means that he's helping you in a way that that person shouldn't hit you, that he shouldn't do any bad to you. That's Moshiach. Mugain means he protects you in a way he doesn't allow that person to come close to you. So the help is on a very different level when you start from Oizai, im Moshiach, im Mugain. It's the highest level. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Melech Oizai im Moshiach im Mugain. The B'nai Yisoscha. I found the B'nai Yisoscha today on Chodesh Kislev Taivus, and he says the same thing on Chodesh Uda. Fascinating B'nai Yisoscha. Ezras avisaini atuhi mayoilam. We say it every morning by Shachris. It comes to Ezras, we say, Ezras avisaini atuhi mayoilam mugain im Moshiach duhem v'livnayim achrayim b'chol doi v'doi. So pshat. What's the difference between Azuru and Yeshia? You have all three languages here. Ezras avisaini, referring to our parents. He says Ezras. To us, he says Mugan and Yeshia lehem livnayim. The next generations, it's Mugan and Yeshia. Why did he change from Ezras avisaini, our forefathers, and then he continues Mugan and Yeshia to the future generations? There must be a difference between Ezras avisaini to Mugain im Moshiach to the next generations. Melech Oizai im Moshiach im Mugain. Over here it's Oizai Mugain im Moshiach. We'll talk about that soon. We find in different places in Tefillah where the language is reversed. And to take note of these things, you really have to daven and put your full mind in the davening. That's down. start Moida Ani, Hashem Echad, I'm done, I'm out of the shul. It doesn't work that way. The thought, your mind has to be fully in tefillah. Says the B'nai Sosche, the taich of the word Azura means without bakusha, without asking. That's Ezra. Yishlach Ezerchu Mikodesh, to send help Mikodesh. Ezras, Aiza means receiving help from Hashem without even asking. Hashem knows what I need. Moishia means, it says in Parshas Kisaitzai, Tzuruku hanaru hamayrusu va'aymish yaloi. She was yelling and no one helped her. No one heard. There was no one there to help her. So we see the Torah uses the word Moishia after shouting. That means the word Moishia is used after shouting, after davening. Moishia. Says the B'nai Soscha, Ezras Avisaini. Our forefathers is Ezras. They didn't have to daven at times. Hashem is Mesabe b'Tefilos Mishal Tzadikim and Mori Yavomis. He craves to listen to the tefillah of tzaddikim. But at times, Hashem listens to their tefillahs, to their plea, not tefillah, to their plea. I said it wrong, not plea. Hashem gives them help even before they daven. That's Ezras Avisaini. But Anachni, us, Benayim Achrayim, the future generations, Achat Tefillah Moshiach, after Tefillah Hashem helps us. Therefore it says, Ezras Avisaini. By our forefathers it was Ezras, even without Tefillah. Before they daven, they were ready to daven, the Yeshia was there ready. Muganei Moshiach, Lehem Livnayim Achrayim. The future generations was that type. But it brings many psikim that we see this difference between Ezras and Mugan and Mashiach. That's a blind. That's why I mentioned, the Gemara says in Mumis, HaKadosh Baruch Hu misabel Tefilos Shal Tzadikim. Hashem has a craving the tefillahs of tzaddikim. But we also find many times where tzaddikim didn't have to daven and the Yeshia came before they davened. And he brings rayas from psikim that we find this in Tanakh, where they didn't have to daven, the Yeshia came immediately. But the future generations have to daven. However, we do find sometimes, as we mentioned before, in Maramis before, there are tzaddikim that Hashem Dafka wanted them to daven. He made Rivka and Akura only because he wanted Yitzchak and Rivka's tefillah. Okay? The Malbim says another pshat, and the Ksaf Soifer says the same thing in the name of the Marshu, Mesechtes Ksibis. Says the Malbim Azoi. When it's oizai, when it's help, who does the main thing? You have the person doing something, you have another person helping him. So the person who is doing the actual work is doing the work, but the other person is helping him. But the person who's doing it, he's doing the main work. Let's say you're carrying a heavy load, and someone comes to you, let me help you. So if he gives you the whole thing to carry, then it's not fair, because you're coming to help him. So he's doing the main schlepping, and you're going to help him. Make it easier for him. That's oizai. When it comes to Yeshia, the person who needs help does nothing. That person is coming here to give you a Yeshia. You have to do anything. I'm going to make sure you have a Yeshia. Nothing you have to do on your side. The difference between oizai and Moshiach. The Gemara says also in the same line, the Maraisosche, this is the Maraisosche in Chodesh Oda. Of their quotes are Gemara in Tanis. The Gemara says in Mesechtes Tanis, which is causes if there's no rain. There was a story once, they needed rain. The goyz tanis, they made excited, everybody has to fast. There are 13 tanaisim, three of them, the 7. They were goyz tanis, you have to fast. Each tanis is more harsh than the other, but this is a story that happened that they needed rain. And there were goyz tanis. And rain came alos shacha before davening. So Tzibah thought, wow, we are so special. Even before we daven, the rain started coming. So the Guru says, Amushal, that it's not so. Hashem doesn't want to listen to your tefillas. That's why the rain came before. But there is a medrage by tzaddikim, terem yukrui vaniyana. Before you call upon me, I will answer whatever you need. And that's the medrage of Yeshia. Yeshia. Person needs a Yeshia. He wants a Yeshia either going to the mountain without you helping, he'll do the whole thing. Or according to the Balai Saschet means, a Yeshia means after davening. Oizai is before davening. The Yeshia comes immediately when Hashem feels this is the time and you're ready to start saying to him, ready to start davening, you have a Yeshia. That's Oizai. Oizai. Ezra Sabisaini, before you start davening. And Os is Mugan and Mashiach.
And what's the difference between Mugan and Mashiach?
Mugain, well, the B'nai doesn't explain that. Yeah. Now I'll mention another B'nai that does explain that. It does explain the Mugan and Mashiach. But before we go to that, I'd like to mention a word from the Oitza HaTfilis. On this very tefillah, Ezra Sabisani Atihi Me'olam Mugan and Mashiach Lehem B'nayim Chaim Chodoi V'doi. Says the Eitz Yosef, we know that when the Malach came to save Lot, what did he tell him? Tell them, don't look back. Look forward. And she did look back. Why is that? So he brings psikim. When it comes to Ezras, the word Aiza, the Aiza didn't come because of your zechisim. It came because of the schis of Avram Avini. When the schis comes from someone else, you have no right to see your enemy suffering. That's Ezras. But when the Yeshia comes on your behalf, on your zechis, then you could look back. Hoili ba'oizdi. So the Melech says, it happened b'shvili. I have a right to look at my enemy having a mapula, because it came because of my zechis. That's Ezras Avisaini. Avisaini have a right to look back, to see the mapula of the Sainim, because they had their own zechisim, and the Yeshia came because their own zechisim, their own merits. Is Ezras Avisaini. But Benayim Machrayim, they rely on the zechis of their forefathers. Eine Zoichem le'azura, they are not zoichet to Ezras only because of Mugain in Moshiach. Going back to Avram Avini, to Avisaini Agdoishim. So therefore, Mugan and Mashiach of Naim Bachrayim, they have no right to see the Mapul of the Soina. That's his pshat in Ezra Avisaini. But now, if you look in Tefilos, you see there are differences. Let's open the Siddur. With the Shemoneh Esrei, it's Beilach Oizayin and Mashiach Mugain. The end of Shemoneh Esrei, V'choy lachayim b'dichu seilu, V'vorach Yeshum Cha'aguda Be'em B'slanim Kitoif, Hukail, Yeshiyu Saini Ve'ezru Saini Seilu. What happened? The beginning of the Shemoneh Esrei, it's Beilach Oizayin in Moshiach, and now it's Yeshia and then Oizayin. It's reversed. To realize this, the davening, we have to, our minds have to be, I'm talking to myself now, we all have the same problem. To daven to Hashem and to have nothing else in mind, just saying the words to Hashem. You have the proper kavuna, the perish amilis.
Maybe you could say that now you already finished the davening practically, so now you're subject to the shua. You just daven first, and you daven for Hashem, and again, it's not anymore Ezra where it's a preview, so to speak, from the Sotova. You just daven, you had him in Bakasha, so any answer will be in Yeshua, not a Azara.
The Menayes Hoschach gives a similar teretz, but he has a different cheshbon. He says like this: it's right in Chodesh El. The reason why the Anshe Knesset Sagdola were Mesakin, the Birchis Uvos Melech Oizam Mashiach Mugain Ebohaydua, in the thank of Hashem, the last three Bruchos of Shemoneh Esrei is thanking Hashem. Moida Manachni Loch V'Choy L'Chaim Medichus Eilu. We all thank Hashem. He says, "Okaili Shi Yisani V'Zasaini," because the first three Bruchos in Shemoneh Esrei is like a eved that's misada the shvuchim of the king, and he goes from room to room, searching and looking for the king. Oh, I found the king. He's deep in the palace. He's misada the shvuchim of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. This is so. Therefore, he starts with Melech Oizayin and Mashiach Mugain. He goes from the bottom, and he goes higher and higher. Mugain is the highest. He shields you. Now, doesn't let the enemy come close to you. That's the highest. So he starts with Oizai, whichever pshat you learn, the Menayes Hoschach pshat. Oizai is without tefillah, Mashiach is with tefillah. Oizai is your own zechisim. Okay, that's not, because the next one is less. But the Menayes Hoschach pshat. So now, he said the first one is Asiyah, the second one is Yetzirah, then it's a Mugain. But when you finish the Shemoneh Esrei, rather when you are up to the last three Bruchos in the Shemoneh Esrei, it's like an Eved that's taking Pras Meraboy, Schar from his master, and he's ready now to leave from room to room. He's leaving. Once you leave, then you start from the top and you go to the bottom. First you say Yeshiyu Saini, and then you say Be'ezra Saini. That's why these two words are reversed. First Yitzir and then goes Yisir. We're going to mentioned here and discusses Yeshiyu Saini, Be'ezra Saini. These two things. I'd like to mention an amazing story which will explain Oizai Mashiach Mugain, and it's going to answer many other things. A comment that Shmuel made before, and I've heard this during the week from several people too. The pshat in Aminas Hashem, when things go good, he makes money, he sees nachas from children, everything is vegan. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is so great. As soon as it just starts to change a little bit, why are you doing this to me? I didn't sin. So the person has a plan. My plan is, Rabbeinu Shalom, this is what I want you to do to me. I want you to follow my order. I have an order, what I want you to do, follow. So it's not going the right direction. Why are you doing it to me? Let me tell you the story. The Strikever Rebbe was a big poil yeshiyas, and he showed great moifsim, and people came from all over, from cities all around Strikev. There was one chuset, there was a uni medike, a real poor person. He had an older girl in his house, and he couldn't do a shidduch because he had no money, mamish nothing. And he came and he cried to the Rebbe, I don't know what to do, I'm at a loss. It's bitter, very bitter. I can't find any solution to come out of this trouble. So the Rebbe told him, buy a lottery, and he gave him a brucha, you're going to win the lottery, you're going to start having a tzlucha, mala. You're going to go, you become very rich. The chusad went, he bought the lottery. He listened, obviously. It came closer to the play out, when they're going to play out the lottery. That Erev Shabbos before, he didn't have a penny to his name to buy challis, candles, the bare necessities for Shabbos and wine. So what do I do now? I have to buy candles. I have to light candles for Shabbos. I have to make Kiddush. At least twice. I have to have a Seder. I have to buy challis, kazaisim. He went and he sold the lottery for those few dollars, and he bought, now he had money for challis, wine, and candles. Few days passes, and that Yid won the lottery. He found out he won the lottery. That person became a multi-millionaire overnight. It was 75,000 the coins from that time. He became a millionaire overnight. He started crying. Went back to the Rebbe. And he says, Rebbe, I had no choice. I had to sell the lottery because I had no money to buy food for Shabbos. And look what happened. It's like that lottery was the lottery. You gave me that brucha, but it's gone. The tzaddik hetzah. It's gewaltig hetzah. If this could happen, is a raya that I am not choshev to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because otherwise HaKadosh Baruch Hu wouldn't do this to me. The chusad would have, Hashem would make sure he should have enough money to buy challis, wine, and candles. He shouldn't have to sell the lottery. I davened for him and I begged for his atzlucha, and it didn't happen. I am no more Rebbe, no more manig, and he locked his door. Doesn't let anybody into his room. It's finished. If this can happen to me, it's finished. People had agmas nefesh, because the hundreds of people, the thousands of people used to come to him from all cities around to beg for yeshiyas. His doors closed. No more. It came to the ears of the Rabbinim, B'Shischa. The Rabbinim said, I'm going to travel to the Strikke Rebbe, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going to appease him and to convince him that he should open his door again. And he came to him and he asked him, what's going on? Why did you lock your doors? So he told him the whole story that happened. He told him what went on. And the Rabbinim told him like this. The Gemara says in Masechtos Moed Katan on the Pusik, Lidibetzi Yisrael Moshe Budam. To the kids, the Gemara says there, Ani Moshe Budam, Imi Moshe Bi Tzadik. I am the ruler of people, but tzaddikim rule over me. Ani goyze g'zayre, I make g'zayres, and the tzaddikim have a koyach to me mevatel the g'zayres. Tzaddik has a koyach to be mevatel, has a big koyach, mevatel the g'zayres. So the choyre there is a contradiction. We just mentioned the chazal that a tzaddik has a koyach to be mevatel the g'zayres. And we say every morning by the davening, by the kabunis, it says later, who's going to tell Hashem what to do? Do you have the audacity to tell Hashem matifel? Hashem knows what to do. It's a contradiction. Here we say the tzaddik has a koyach to be mevatel g'zayros, and over here the Tanya de Balayu in the Tefillah it says that who's going to tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu what to do? I mean, tzaddik doesn't have the koyach. So what does it mean? So the Rabbinim answered, Be'emes the tzaddik has a big koyach to be mevatel the g'zayros. Tzaddik goyze and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will give a yeshiyah. But here's your mistake. Do not give eitzes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You just give a brucha, you should have a yeshiyah. But you should tell him how he should have a yeshiyah. You're telling him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I want him to have this, I want him to have that, he should buy a lottery, he should win, he should become rich. That not. You just give him a brucha, even though there's a gezaira on him that he should be poor, that could be gone by giving him a brucha. Tzaddik goyzer, that koyach you have, but that was the problem, because you're giving HaKadosh Baruch Hu yitzes. Don't help HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu knows what to do. He knows how to make him rich. You're going to tell Hashem how to make him rich? So we see from here, mamish hamisa haskel hadrucha, in how we should conduct ourselves. A person has to have betuchen in a minute. When he has betuchen, he not know only the betuchen of a refi and of a yeshi and of panusa and of his zevikim and his eishok. Nah. And tell Hashem how to do it. Just the betuchen is also on the way it's going to happen. That's also betuchen in Hashem. Hashem has ways how to do it. He knows what to do. This is Melech Oizani Mashiach. We just need to daven to say these words, Melech Oizai, in all the languages, all the meanings, with help from mothers, and before davening and after davening, and a shield and a good protection. The enemy shouldn't come and attack us. Fine, but not how. How Hashem will do it in the right way. The Eibush says, help me on Zoichazan, Melech Oizai Mashiach Mugayim. We should see Yeshias in each and every way. Yes. Correct. Especially in Shema where over there you could ask for anything you need. Don't give answers. Just ask what you need. Say what you need, and the rest leave Hashem.